So thank you very much for the opportunity that has given to me. And today I'm going to share my research under the title Challenges in Academic Writing, a mixed method study of Indonesian graduate students in a non-native English-speaking environment supervised by Professor Dr. Chila Sardi. The next slide is the outline of my talk. First, research background and research gap, highlighting phrases, focus, aims, risk questions. Literature review, key issues in English academic writing, highlighting academic writing studies in higher education, challenges in academic writing, strategies in academic writing, linguistic features in academic writing, including information density. Research design, result and discussion separated into three parts: challenges, supports, and attitude in academic writing, strategies used by the participant and their occurrences, information density in a student's academic essays, and conclusions and references. Moving on to the next slides. Research background and research gap. This research was inspired by the Stipendium Hungaricum scholarship that leads to support internationalization in Hungarian higher education. In order to be accepted into the scholarship, a minimum B2 level English proficiency is mandatory, and for international students involving Indonesian students. And from the data published by Indonesian Student Association in 2019, where this study was conducted, majority of Indonesian graduate students enrolled in the field of social science for master degree program. The use of English as a medium instruction in order to support internationalization in higher education in these fields can pose challenges that affect student success. For example, the students were asked to submit their academic essay as their final project that's considered as a high-stakes assessment. Issues in the production of academic writing, such as challenges, support, attitudes, strategies, and the manifestations of linguistic features like information density, deserve to have a space recognition in this dissertation. So this is the research gap of my study. The next slide is research focus. The focus of the research is classified into 3 points: testing existing literature in academic writing, focusing on challenges, support, attitudes, and strategies, as well as information density in Indonesian graduate students' academic essays. Exploring the students' engagement with academic writing, focusing on their experiences with academic writing at Hungarian University. Providing some practical recommendation for Hungarian higher education in strengthening institutional support and enhancing academic writing instruction for international students from the voices of Indonesian students' point of view. The aims of the study are to identify students' challenges, support, and attitudes in English academic writing, to investigate the students' strategies in writing essays, and to look at the characteristic features of information density in a student's essay based on their English proficiency level, which are CEFR rubrics, B2 and C1 levels. In order to achieve the aim, six questions were formulated. First, what challenges do Indonesian graduate students face when writing academic essays in English? What type of support do the students receive during the production to address these challenges? What attitudes do the students hold toward English academic writing in a native English-speaking environment? What writing strategies do the student employ during the production of English academic texts? What are the characteristic features of information density in a student's essay across 3 semesters? What are the characteristic features of information density in the essays based on the student initial proficiency levels? In terms of the literature review, highlighting key issues in English academic writing, including academic writing studies in higher education. For example, writing requirement as an indicator of academic success in higher education. Academic genre is also a part of the discussion, including the Highland linguistic features in academic texts, writing tools such as ChatGPT, Mood, and Quillbot, as well as issues related to plagiarism. And writing instruction during the COVID-19 also deserve to discuss in this section. Second, challenges in English academic writing faced by non-native English speakers. The issues consist of language issues, content structure, affective factors, writing management. 3. Strategies in English academic writing. They are divided into two sections. Writing based on the stages: pre-writing, writing, and post-writing, and writing taxonomy. the cognitive, metacognitive, social, and affective strategies. In terms of research design, this research was inspired by Creswell basic convergent design, where qualitative and quantitative data were merged together in order to get the result. The data then compared between the two databases to get insightful, valuable insights. And the study was done through 3 phases. In the phase 1, the semi-structured interview was used in order to find out the experience of academic writing, including challenges, support, attitude, and strategies. Phases 2 dealt with follow-up interview checklists in finding out or in seeking writing strategies in dealing with writing taxonomy. In phase 3, which dealing with essay analysis, focusing on the features of information density and the relationship between the ID components and the student's initial English proficiency level. In terms of student English proficiency validation, after the home defense, the researcher contacted all participants through social media and asked them to self-evaluation whether their English proficiency has changed during the interviews, and all participants agreed that during the interview section or during the data collection were conducted, their English proficiency remains the same. And the next slide is the discussion result and discussion. And the discussion starts with challenges in English academic writing, and it divided into 4 sections. Writing process challenges, including challenges in comprehending reading materials due to large number of text and complex vocabulary, time management, plagiarism, language proficiency, for example, the overuse of passive voice and uttering conventional academic format, as well as cognitive and affective factors such as lack of focus, emotional exhaustion. In order to cope with these strategies, the students employ consulting with YouTube for preliminary understanding, creating a timetable to monitor deadlines using paraphrasing tools such as Quillbot, and seeking for academic writing support. That it's part of the positive attitude of the students have regarding the English academic writing courses. And then resting and eating before writing, bathing, as well as providing sufficient snacks and drinks. And 2, subject course challenges. First, limited access to reliable academic sources, for example, English sources. I put example here. And difficulties understanding and selecting essay topics, adhering tight deadline, unrealistic expectations set by the course or lecturers. In order to cope the strategy, the participants ask their peer in order to evaluate their text before submission, as well as making a schedule appointment with their lecturers. This is also part of the institutional support given by the institution in order to help the students guide in academic writing development. And then 3, institutional policy challenge. First, difficulties in accessing online database and journal, for example, accessing full paper articles. And then the absence of the course of English academic writing. To cope this challenge, the students use VPN and participated in the research week events. 4, external challenges like interruption during the writing process. For example, checking social media on mobile phone. It can affect concentration and productivity. I put example here. Second, the key finding related to support in English academic writing. The findings divided into 3 parts. Institutional policy. The presence of English academic writing classes such as a thesis workshop could develop critical thinking skills and academic writing conventions. The course also shows positive attitudes towards students' academic success. Academic writing resources via institutional platform. That this could provide access to academic materials and plagiarism tools, including the use of Urkun, and these tools help them cope the challenge. The value of academic engagement opportunities, such as the participation in research forums, other publication, and attending academic conferences. I put the illustration example here. Second, subject course support. The integration between essay topic with the student's thesis and the availability of relevant sources provided by the lecturer, with some students present challenges in a limited access of the reliable sources. Guidance from the lecturers to navigate students' direction. Sometimes the students felt lost during the task description. This is a challenge related to cognitive and affective factors. And I'll put some illustrations here. The subject course, the availability of the subject course support could lead a positive attitude toward the academic writing assignments. That is, sufficient support is available. 3. Students' prior experiences in English academic writing support. Pursuing higher education at an English medium university. I also put an example here. Texts produced by the C1 levels contain high information density, English proficiency, and prior academic writing experiences in English academic writing influence in producing high quality texts. In terms of attitude toward English academic writing in a native English speaking environment, the attitude divided into two positive area. First, positive attitude toward the class of English for academic writing. This is also part of the institutional support. The class can help students produce well-written and coherent texts, and it also supports thesis writing processes, elevate shared understanding among international students from diverse social cultural background. I put example here, and the existing class of English for academic writing could cope the challenge, like students with a very limited experience could get benefit from this class. Second, positive attitude toward academic essay assignment, and for example, the integration between the topic with the student's thesis. I put example here. This assignment could help minimize exposure to unfamiliar topic and increase their confidence in transferring their talk into writing. In terms of strategies in English academic writing and their occurrences, the finding of the study suggests that there were 82 strategies all over the process found in this research. And in terms of the pre-writing stage, the students mostly organize ideas that can be classified into cognitive strategies in order to address challenges, for example, difficulties in understanding complex information due to extensive amounts of readings. And the pre-writing stage also helps students control and organize their writing efficiently. I also put example here. The writing stage, the strategy employed in this stage mainly focus on content development and language refinement that are mostly deal with metacognitive strategies. There are planning, monitoring, revising in order to address, for example, clarity and conciseness. While in the post-writing stage, the students seek external feedback, for example, before submission to check task description, and these strategies connected with social strategies, positive attitudes toward feedback, and academic writing skill improvement before submission, as well as taking time to rest and recharge after submissions. That it deals with effective strategies to cope the challenges such as stressful and exhausted. And the illustrations more clearly when we see that the charts showing that cognitive strategies is the highest number of occurrences among the other strategies. This is because students' involvement in mental processes such as finding synonym and generating idea are mostly applied in this taxonomy. Copying some difficulties such as slow reading, comprehension, transference, thought into writing also deal with cognitive strategies. And I'll put example here, and it's example of problem solving activities in finding a synonym. Then the students tend to be aware of the use of information density, which indicated by the use of a short, very limited word to illustrate the large meaning. And then in terms of comparison of English academic writing strategies reached by B2 and C1 level students over time, you can see that the C1 students tend to employ more higher strategies compared to B2 because of some factors like students' prior academic writing experiences and previous educational backgrounds, and then the opportunities for academic writing practices such as publication, drafting for publication, and attending a research forum such as conferences. And then the affective factors also affect these occurrences. And in terms of the characteristic features finding in the study suggests that both B2 and C1 students' texts manifest more content word than function word. While C1 students' text showed greater consistency in the matter of information density, they are in lexical density, expanded noun phrases, and nominalization, and the utilization of writing strategy that has been shown in the previous slide. Factor affect these occurrences. First, the level of students' language proficiency, the use of academic writing strategies, students' prior English academic writing experiences such as drafting for publication, subject knowledge, perceived relevance of the assigned topic, the use of technical words, and I put an example here, difficulty in distinguishing between everyday and academic English, as well as struggling with the subject course due to a lack of content knowledge, especially dealing with topic familiarity. Moving on to the final talk. Conclusion. Focus of the research question. This research investigates the challenges for Indonesian graduate students in writing English academic texts. The challenges can be classified into the writing processes, subject courses, institutional policies, and external factors. To address these challenges, the students employ a range of writing strategies, including the writing taxonomy, cognitive, metacognitive, social, and affective strategies throughout the writing process. They also seek support from institutional policies, subject courses, and prior writing experiences in order to enhance the quality of their academic texts. The finding further reveal that the employment of academic writing strategies relate to students' English proficiency levels and their awareness of information-dense features manifestation, or personalized by lexical density, expanded noun phrases, and nominalization. In their writing, specifically, the C1 level students tend to produce denser and more abstract texts compared to those of B2 level students. For the pedagogical implication, this study suggests that providing English for academic writing courses in the fields of social sciences and economics at Hungarian universities, with a focus on resource availability, teachers' English proficiency improvement, assignment clarity, development of academic writing skill, including emphasizing information density and teacher-student research collaboration. This research, this dissertation, faced some limitation, like small number of participants from specific disciplines only, and the study only relied on retrospective interview that rely only on memorization of the participants. Translation errors affecting reliability in illustrating and explaining the data, highly restricted to specific cultural background, which are Indonesian and Hungarian higher education scope. And the researchers suggest for future directions for expanding the sample size and diversity of participants, like locations, field of study, and then gain more data sources, for example, subject, teachers, peers, involvement, self-assessment, employ advanced data analysis tools, and investigate writing development not only for MA or MSc students, but also PhD students. And the next slide is the references quoted in this talk. Thank you.